Hello everybody, my name is Aud and welcome back to the Aud Narrations channel. Today we're reading a story titled, Why Does My Boyfriend Think It's Okay to Touch Me When I'm Asleep? And How Do I Make Him Understand That It's Creepy? Yeah, well, this is going to be an interesting one. As always, if you enjoy these videos and want to see more, make sure to hit the subscribe button, that way you won't miss the latest upload. Alrighty, without further ado, let's make a start. The post reads, Our background. We've been together for 7 years. We've lived together for pretty much all of our relationship. In the 7 years, we've had normal ups and downs, but we're generally good and happy. Since we got together when we were essentially horny teenagers, I'll acknowledge that things have slowed down and that we've gone through dry spells. Sometimes because I'm not feeling it, and sometimes I just get caught up in day-to-day life that I don't even realize it's been a while. In the past, he's initiated things while I was asleep, and it worked. Other times I've shut him down and gone back to sleep, but I have always told him that that's not the way to go about it, and I don't like it. A couple of months ago, he was touching me whilst I was asleep and rubbing himself against me, and I woke up pissed. I told him that it's fucking creepy. I told him it raises a red flag that he finds my unconscious body attractive and thinks it's okay to try and use it to get off. I told him how it feels like he does it in hopes that I don't wake up, and so that I don't turn him down. I told him it felt violating and asked him how many times he's done it without me waking up, and I just never knew. He was very apologetic and embarrassed, so I thought that would be the end of it. But no. Last night, I had a couple drinks at the bar, came home and went to bed. I woke up to him standing over me on my side of the bed, rubbing himself against my lips. Again, I flipped out. Totally reasonable. I asked him what the fuck would possess him to get up and do that shit. What goes through his head and says, what goes through his head where he's like, yeah, this is a good idea. He even tried to play it off. When I opened my eyes, he quickly put it away and started looking at the nightstand like he was looking for something. I find that even worse that he pretended like he wasn't rubbing his dick in my face whilst I was fucking sleeping. He says he doesn't know why he did it, or that he didn't even realize he was doing it. He makes me feel straight up repulsed to think that someone could be touching me like that while I'm asleep, and I could never know if I don't wake up. It also makes me think that he hasn't stopped since the last time I flipped out at him. I just haven't caught him up until now. I don't know if I should try a more gentle approach instead of basically saying he gives rapey vibes, or if I'm overreacting and this is just typical horny man behavior. As a man, no, it's not. This is fucking weird. It makes me not even want to sleep next to him anymore, and it certainly doesn't make me want to fuck him. How do I make him see where I'm coming from without him acting like a dog who just got caught going through the trash? Yeah. So him putting it away like that immediately says that he knows that it's wrong, that it's doing something wrong, and yeah, this is just not normal behavior. To be honest, I don't really know what I would do about that, to be honest. It's a really tricky situation. Like, if talking to him didn't do it, I honestly don't know what I would do. There's a few things you could, like, maybe you could try talking to his parents and be like, can you have a word with him? Because it's fucking weird, basically. And just sort of embarrass him that way and be like, you know, if you keep doing it, I'm going to keep telling more and more people are going to judge you because it's fucking weird and rapey. Yeah. I genuinely don't know. Start sleeping in a different bedroom? Maybe? Like, if you, basically warn him if he does it again, he's in a different room. And you're going to put a lock on the door. See if that puts common sense into his brain. Just random thoughts. I don't know if they're the best. Sorry to interrupt the video, but since the new year, I've set myself the target of hitting 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, 2025. It would really help out the channel if you hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much. Alrighty, let's have a look at some of the comments. Someone's left a comment saying, why do you think he doesn't already know what he's doing is creepy? You've already communicated your feelings about this pretty clearly. Someone replied saying, him stuffing his penis back into his pants when he got caught and acting like it's not what he was doing is also a very strong indicator. Someone else replied to the original comment, quoting, how do I make him see? And they write, you don't because he won't. This is a character flaw. The fact that he's done it even once is vile. This is sexual assault, and he should have either cried or vomited or both at the realization that he could do that to someone he loves. Instead, he did it again. Time with you is done. The only question is whether or not he'll have absorbed anything from you leaving him and behave respectfully in the future with anyone else he meets. Someone else replied to the original comment saying he knows indeed, he just doesn't give a shit. To which someone replied saying, yep, every time I see posts like OP's, I feel the need to say the exact same thing. He knows, he just doesn't care. Someone else left a comment quoting, how do I make him see where I'm coming from without him acting like a dog who just got caught going through the trash? And they write, he already sees where you're coming from. He just doesn't care. The caught dog behavior is to keep you from leaving him so he can do it again, and he 100% will. There's no talking left for you to do on this one, as he's doing it when you're asleep. Maybe his next step will be to make sure you don't wake up while he's doing it. Big accusation. Yeah, maybe. Someone else left a comment saying, I was never able to get my husband to stop. Let me be clear, he knew my feelings about it. I cried. I told him about being molested as a child. The whole 9 yards. He knew. I gave him a pass the first time I woke up to him finishing on me and then just leaving the mess to dry on my ass. I thought, we've been together a long time. He knows I like sex. He didn't realize how upsetting this would be. So the next morning I sat down with him face to face and told him, bawling my eyes out, how humiliated, disrespected and gross and used I felt. He comforted me, held me, told him he understood and never meant to make me feel like that. He said it would never happen again. Except it did. And like your boyfriend, if I woke up, if he realized I was aware, he'd quickly pretend he hadn't just been treating my unconscious body like it was a sex toy. I developed insomnia. I eventually got to the point where I could not sleep a whole night through. Until I moved out. I sleep great now. Someone replied, saying, whoa, what an asshole. I'm glad you left him. And they replied, saying, he is, in many ways, a really great guy, which is why it took me so damn long to wrap my head around the fact that this relationship was abusive and toxic. If only people could be entirely cartoonishly bad, lol, it would have been so much easier to leave. Someone replied, saying, yeah, the majority of abusers are like your ex. To which someone replied, saying, yep. And looking back, hindsight 2020 and all that, there was so much more that was wrong that I managed to convince myself was perfectly okay. He'd say things like, I'd never hit you guys because then your mum would leave, / I know hitting is where the line is drawn. He punched a hole in the wall when the baby was having a rough night. He deliberately set out to ruin my mood and happiness if he wasn't in a good mood himself, and eventually he was never in a good mood. He'd complain we weren't having enough sex, but then reject me whenever I would initiate. He'd try to initiate sex when it was clearly inappropriate, wrong time, place, witnesses, and then be angry at me for saying no. And the thing is, this all sounds terrible written out like this, right? But it happened so slowly over such a long time, and he was decent or even a great partner in other ways. It was really a struggle to see how bad it was getting until one day I realized I hadn't danced or sung in ages. I would find myself leaving the room anytime he came in, and I dreaded him coming home from work. And of course, I couldn't sleep if he was near me. And I thought to myself, is this how I want to be? How I want to live? Someone else left a comment saying, you told him it violated you, and he did it again. I'm sorry this happened to you. I get the feeling. It feels so gross. I can't imagine it happening by your boyfriend after setting boundaries. Are you sure this is the only way he disregards your feelings? Even if it is a big one. Someone replied, saying he literally just did it again and played it off. It's completely repulsive behavior, like genuinely disgusting behavior. I really feel for OP that this is a repeated and serious violation. She's not consenting. It's assault. I'm so sorry, OP. I don't even have any advice. I just hope you're okay and will look after yourself. This is really horrible to have happen. So yeah, sending you vibes. Someone else has left a comment saying, no means no. No answer is also a no, and a maybe is also a no. And even closed off body language is a no. If your boyfriend cannot understand that concept and continues to break your clear boundary, it will not get better. When my now husband and I first started living together 10 years ago, we had the "can I wake you up" conversation. His ex was very against it, and he fully respected it. I told him it depends for me. If we're under the influence, it's a no. If I say no, then I will stop. But I'm a very sexual person, and honestly enjoy the surprise wake-up. But you don't have to feel that same way. My husband has never continued when I say no. He's never gone in while I'm actually asleep. He stops the moment I express any end behavior. I would have a conversation with a boyfriend about this, and tell him it's the last conversation you'll have on the subject. If it's a firm no for you, tell him that. Tell him if he breaks that boundary again, it'll be the last, and it's the deal breaker. As messed up as it is, it sounds like he's purposefully breaking the boundary because he knows he could get away with it. You need to decide what you want to tolerate. Breaking a sex boundary is a big red flag. Someone replied, saying, finally a comment I feel like I can relate to. I am a very sexual person, but it comes and goes in waves, and he gets that. When I talk about times in the past where it worked and was either fingering or eating me out, and it was clear the intention was to wake me up for sex. Sometimes it's hot and I'm into it, and sometimes I'm like, I have to work early, I need to sleep. And anytime I say no, he respected that. The following morning I'd talk to him like, hey, I don't really like that you do that. If you want to initiate sex, do it before we go to sleep. Mostly because I generally don't like being woken up. A little because it feels like a cheat code way to get straight to sex without implementing intimacy. Not because I felt violated. But these past 2 times I could feel the intent was different. The intent was not to get me horny and wake me up for sex. The intent was to get off by using me without waking me up. That feels disgusting to me. Like if he wanted to look at me while he masturbates or hold a tit or ass while he does it, that's fine by me. Doesn't gross me out at all. But rubbing his dick against my mouth or vagina feels violating. I don't know if it's a mixed signal to me. It feels very different. Someone replied saying, not a mixed signal at all. There is a massive difference in the implied level of respect, trust, care and consideration between a soft, gentle touch focused on your pleasure to wake you up for sex versus hoping you don't wake up and using your sleeping body to get himself off. 1000%. Yeah. The comments seem to have absolutely nailed this in this one. OP. So what do you think OP should do? What would you do in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed these videos and want to see more, make sure to hit the subscribe button. That way you won't miss the latest upload. Alrighty, we'll have to finish that for today. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.